At Johnson & Johnson, the shared service story started a few years back with finance and accounting. However, in the past few years, this has become a very strategic imperative. In fact, at Johnson & Johnson, we're expecting to save about $1 billion in back office expenses that will be invested back in research and development that should help to our patients, our doctors, and consumers that we serve. Considering that we are running multifunctional shared services, we have different technologies for different functions. In HR, we have implemented single HR system worldwide, and this has contributed significantly to the saving as well as efficiency and data that we can actually get from our systems. In finance and accounting, we have reduced number of ERPs from hundreds to some 20s. In this region in particular, we have managed to reduce to about 10. Even though J&J is acquiring new companies regularly, we have certain times that we manage to integrate those companies in our existing ERPs. In addition to ERPs, we are using enabling technologies, things like Blackline. We are embarking on ERP. At this stage, it's still in its infancy stages and we are learning, but certainly we can see opportunities that this will bring to efficiencies in our organization. At Johnson & Johnson, we have embarked on RPA and artificial intelligence back in January this year for finance and accounting in particular. And at this stage, we are seeing some benefits. We believe this could add to some efficiencies. However, it's a bit too early to speculate what that may be. Naturally, with every new thing, there are challenges, and I would say, first of all, we need to learn how to integrate this in our existing IT infrastructure. How do we minimize the risk with the new technologies, and how do we actually manage people aspect? Many people are already starting to question what that means to me. So we really want to step back and make sure that we have a very comprehensive change management program to ensure that people don't panic and start leaving the company because we are now introducing the ERP system. Manila is a very vibrant market for shared services. While I think Johnson & Johnson is one of those lucky companies being so big, and by the way, we were voted to be one of the best companies to work for in Asia in 2018. I think that the real threat is with the number of new shared service centers that's coming in. Therefore, we have to look beyond just the compensation. We need to look at how do we make people enjoy what they do, really giving them opportunity not only to test their skills in a functional area, but also include them outside of that in things like continuous improvement, making sure that they are able to demonstrate this skill set beyond just, let's say, transactional accounting. Give them opportunities to work with cross-functional teams. And of course, dealing with millennials, we started to listening what they want. So as an example, we have introduced a number of initiatives, including flexible work arrangements. On some days, people stay home and work from home. On other days, they may decide to work from a very different location within the office. We have introduced sharing office seats, and you'll see from time to time young people like to sit in cafeteria and chat with their friends while resolving some complex issues. At Johnson & Johnson, most of our finance and accounting, procure to pay and hire to retire service is done in-house. However, we are leveraging BPO as a part of our model. We are partnering with some of the leading BPO providers simply because they know how to get things done. I think in particular when we look at the ERP space, companies like Accenture, they are leading in utilizing ERP technologies. Therefore, we can leverage some of that and finding a process that they can deliver more effectively will certainly add value to our stakeholders, to our customers and our patients. We measure success, I would say, through two main things. One is the employee engagement and employee satisfaction. We run our creator surveys to understand what people think about the company, how they feel within company, and I would say this has been a great indicator of whether or not we may have attrition issues in the future. So we're very lucky that our creator results and our engagement are very high. The other is really the financial impact that we are making to the organization. Since finance and accounting has been around for some 10 years, in some areas we're moving away from traditional SLAs and KPIs. I measured more on the industry best practice. If industry is delivering finance and accounting at, let's say, 1% of the total sale, that's the expectation from my team. And that's one of those high level metrics that we are all looking at. The second, in more mature markets, our customers are no longer interested to look at my SLAs. They're no longer interested to look at how quickly I can close the books. What are the number of manual journals? They feel this is part of my job and I should look at them. What they are now more interested is how do I add value beyond my current scope? As an example, when I have my goals and objectives aligned to the regional CFOs, we not only look at what my scope is, but we also look what business really wants to do this year. As an example, if we want to introduce new product to the market, then we look at what are the capabilities that shared service people can bring to the table to help them be more effective in that manner. So, as I said, these are more, I would say, latest thinking and latest ideas on how we should really measure value rather than sticking with the traditional SLAs and KPIs. Thank you. This is a really interesting question, and I think it's one I will try to address in my presentation later on. In Manila, based on latest information, we have about 1.3 million people working in the industry. Shared services growing at about 20%, which means that within 5 years, we need another million people. All right? So the statistics and studies I have done in the past year indicate that people can get up to 30 to 40% by switching role, which I feel is adding risk to the industry. It's making Philippines less competitive, but at the same time, it puts companies in very difficult situation to deliver high value services. So certainly competition is growing very fast within Philippines. At the same time, countries like Vietnam, they are coming slowly online. Indonesia, Malaysia, and surprisingly Singapore, which is a high-cost location, is providing incentives to companies actually to move to Singapore. I've heard that Singapore government has very, very attractive incentives for companies to start analytical shared services and center of excellences. So I think certainly while the inflation and maybe the tax reform in Philippines is cooling down the system, I feel there's still quite a bit of risk, and I fear unless we do something very quickly in terms of developing next generation talent, we may end up seeing more and more companies leaving Manila, leaving maybe towards India, as the robotics is taking more and more important place, but also leaving to Indonesia, Malaysia, where we have very competitive rates and very strong incentives from government.